As your party rounds the corner, you hear a commotion. Gazing into the room, you see a horde of goblins attacking a pair of ancient sentry bots who seem to be guarding a door at the far end of the room. Which side do you join? Roll for initiative. Alright, so I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw this, a couple of videos on making a bead bot. You know, just a little scratch build thing made out of some beads and random things that you happen to have around. And I dug through all my random assorted bits and beads and decided to give it a shot. So we're going to use the beads and some of this wire that I got from the Dollar Tree, make ourselves a little scratch build model. So to start things off, I took 3 lengths of wire that are about 2 inches long and stuffed them into this little bead. This is about 5 millimeters wide. This is going to create the spine for our little robot. Now these wedge in here pretty decently, but we're going to secure them in place with a little drop of super glue. Now fitting a 10 millimeter bead onto the wire, we're going to use that to be the torso. And I want the head to kind of be angled forward, as if it's kind of leaning its head forward to gaze at something. So we're going to put a little bit of a bend into the neck area, and that looks pretty good. Now secure it in place with a little super glue. And then using some of these little spacers that I got at Michael's, these are for like a kid's, some kind of bracelet or necklace kit. They work really great for making an abdomen or torso kind of setup for something like this. So 3 of those on the wire, and we've got a nice decent torso length. Now spreading the wires apart, I'm going to alternate between a seed bead and one of these little mini iron beads that I got at Daiso. And we're going to do a few of these lengths onto there to kind of create a leg section for the model. Alright, so once that's all done, we're going to create a neck plate or neck armor for the piece, and I'm just going to take a couple of these spacers. They're made out of rubber, so they're decently flexible. So I'm just going to put a drop of super glue, put a piece of spacer down, kind of bend it into place and hold it until the glue starts to grab hold and solidify. Now to create some back armor, I'm taking a press-on nail of the smallest size I could find, get it stuck to my fingers multiple times, get very frustrated with it, wipe all the super glue off, and then eventually, finally, after getting way too much glue on my fingers, I managed to get it into place. Now once this dries, it's going to be a pretty nice little armor plate on the back. Now to create some arms for the piece, I'm taking another piece of wire and just kind of tucking it in between the nail and the spacers to kind of give the impression that there's a wire kind of leading from the main part of the robot down to the arms. And then secure it in place with another drop of super glue. Alright, so now to create some kind of shoulders or shoulder pads, I'm taking a regular sized iron bead and I'm going to cut it at an angle. Now once this is cut, we're going to have a nice kind of almost triangular piece with a still connected solid round section. This is going to be a fairly nice arm socket or shoulder socket. And then to attach it, I'm just putting a drop of super glue, sliding it onto the wire, finding where I'm going to want the shoulder to be, and then just kind of holding it in place until it dries. And once I like it, I repeat the process on the other side. So now to create the arms, we're going to do basically the same thing we did for the legs. Now I know I didn't put a whole lot of that on camera, but we're going to use the seed beads to kind of represent the main bend points and joints for the limbs, and then the mini iron beads here to be the main bulk of the arms and legs. So for the legs, I did a seed bead, then an iron bead, then a seed bead, then an iron bead, then a seed bead. For the arms, I'm doing a seed bead, 2 iron beads, and then a seed bead where the hand is going to be. So now to just add a little bit of extra detail, I'm taking some of these little kind of pearl studs and placing 4 of them down the back to kind of be like spine, or studs along the spine. And now using this little kind of filigree piece that I got from a Dollar Tree earring kit, I'm gluing it to the front of the torso to kind of be a little bit of a decoration. And now using this toothpick, I'm going to cut it at a rough length and use it as a spear. It's got some nice grooves and indentations on it already, so that's going to help with some extra design. So now to create the hands for the model, I'm just taking a couple of small pieces of wire, bending them in half, and then wrapping them around the toothpick where I want the hands to be. This is going to represent kind of like some wire claw hands that the robot will have. And bending them around the weapon and then gluing it into place is going to make it a whole lot easier than trying to glue the hands onto the model and then trying to fit them around the weapon. Now before I superglue this in place, I can do any adjustments, make sure that it's in the right location. And then to kind of create a wrist, I took one of the mini iron beads, cut it in half, and I'm just kind of sticking that onto the end of the folded section of the wire to kind of give a little bit more of a support area for the superglue to catch hold of and attach to the arms of the model. Now, this didn't exactly give the strongest hold, so I did use some baking soda to kind of quicken the adhesion of the superglue. Alright, so now I'm going to attach this kind of diamond rhinestone stud to be an eye on the very front of the head. Now, off camera, after I paint this guy, I take this off and then replace it with a brand new one to kind of give it a bit more of a shine for the eye plate. And then a drop of superglue on the bottom of each of the feet, and I can stick it down to one of these counting chips that I found in the craft section of the Dollar Tree. Alright, he's all ready to go. Now it's time for some painting. So starting off, I did a base coat of black primer just to give it a nice dark undercoat. Then I'm going to do a very heavy overbrush of red oxide. This is going to give it a nice kind of rusty undertone. The story I've got for these guys is that, they're from an old civilization. Maybe they were some kind of automatons that a wizard had commissioned, and the wizard or the civilization has long since died, and they're just maintaining their last orders since no one told them to stop. So they've been around, they've got some rust going, and they are just kind of worn out, beat down robots. So now I'm going to do a kind of dry brushing of silver from Artist Loft. This is going to give us a nice kind of shiny overtone, but we're still going to see a lot of those little rust patterns underneath. So this will kind of really help sell that this is an old, ancient robot that's seen a whole lot of use over centuries or even millennia, and he's just trying to do his job. So now using some copper, I'm going to pick out all of the major sections of the arms and legs, all the seed bead joints, just to kind of give a little bit of extra definition and color. And once that's dry, I do a little bit of Artist Loft bronze on the shoulder pads and any of the areas that I want to really be kind of seen as armor plate. Now I'm only doing this on the back and not on the front because I kind of didn't want to mess with the filigree on the front of the chest. And I'm using kind of a stippling motion instead of a brushing. That way it gives a little bit of extra texture. Then we'll do a quick little dry brush over the weapon to kind of give it a bronzy color. Now to kind of darken everything up and kind of unify the paint scheme, we're going to do kind of a, not quite a heavy but not quite a medium coating of null oil. This is going to give it a very, very worn down and rough appearance. And now we're going to add a little bit of extra detail back in by touching all of the rivets along the spine with some silver. This is going to kind of give a little bit of definitive color to the model and kind of catch the eye. And now to add some scuff and wear marks, we're going to do a dry brushing over any of the joints on the model and some of the armor sections. Now I'm trying to get the edges and not the whole section of the model, just to kind of really heavily focus on wear marks. And then just a little bit of Mars Black on the wires that are supposed to be the hands, and this guy is done. And here we are with the finished piece. These guys did not take very long to make. I made each of them in a half hour. I made one with a spear, which you saw on camera, and then I made one with a sword and shield off camera using a button and a comb from the Dollar Tree. So these guys are a ton of fun to make, and I highly recommend them if you're looking to do a scratch build with products that you might just have on hand. And if you haven't done it yet, head on over to our 1,000 subscribers special video for information on how to enter to win this lovely box set for the Slaves to Darkness, as well as the display diorama that it's standing on. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe for future content, comment in the comments section, and we will see everyone next episode.